that introduction, Carol. It's always good to be back home, what feels like home. So we are very fortunate to have this wonderful space and to have great partners like KPMG and like Keela. We have recently, so by recently I mean about in the last 6 to 8 months, really started focusing on not-for-profit organizations. We saw a big need in the market, a big gap in the market in terms of back office services for not-for-profits. And we felt that there was something there, and so we're really excited to have this event to show you some of the great things that Keela is doing to ultimately support the function that we support in accounting. And so without further ado, I think I'll pass it over to Najib. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar, and I love the chance when I get up here to embarrass somebody, so I will take that time to do it to Omar for a quick second. There's a competitor accounting firm whose name we're not allowed to say, but I will say, and that's Ernst & Young, and they host a Entrepreneur of the Year award every year, and recently Omar was nominated, so a big shout out to Omar. And to all the KPMG people, I won't say those words again. My name is Najid. I'm very bad at slides, but I'm going to try here. And I'm the CEO at Keela. I'm here to do two things for you today. The first is to share a little bit about what Keela is and why we do what we do. And in short, it's to support all of you, but why we do what we do. The second thing I'm here to do is to announce that we've actually, as of today, we've launched a QuickBooks Online, a QBO integration with Keela, which will automate a ton of the work. And so I'm a lawyer, so I don't know anything about accounting. But I've been trained well enough to walk you through the integration, which we actually built with Melanie, who's the actual trainer and knows what she's doing. So I'll tell you a little bit about Keela. I'll walk you awkwardly through the integration and how simple it is, and then I'll turn it over to the professionals. If you have a burning question, please feel free to throw your hand up or to interrupt me, and I'll happily answer it. So I bet everybody in this room has been frustrated by our sector, right? I mean, let's be honest. We change the world, but sometimes we get a little annoyed about it. The inefficiency, the struggle, the resource questions, and I sit or stand in this position because of exactly that same feeling. I used to be a corporate lawyer. I was on Bay Street in Toronto, and I was sitting on the board of a nonprofit. They still do, really cool work. But I was tasked, we had $120-something, $1,000 budget. We were small, we were scrappy. The board members and almost everybody except for one person on the team was unpaid. Does this sound familiar to a lot of our organizations we're talking about? See a lot of nodding heads. Being the proverbial millennial on the board, and by the way, I'm a Luddite with technology, but here I stand. I was told by the rest of my board members to find a tech solution for our organization. It had to be cheap, it had to be powerful, it had to be easy to learn. I said, do you know where any unicorns are? And a few months into looking, I couldn't find a tool that met the needs of us, a sort of small, important to our community, but small organization. And so I said those words that we all have the opportunity sometime in our life to say, and that's, we could build it. And what started as a project to fix a small problem or our own organization became what is now Keela. And so the word Keela is a Swahili word. My family's from Tanzania, and it means everybody or all. And we believe at Keela that every small nonprofit, or actually really every nonprofit, big or small, should have powerful, impactful technology solutions. And from that board meeting and that months of frustration to the 20 plus people that work on our team with our clients working in countries all around the world, Keela is dedicated, sometimes too steadfastly, my staff will often remind me, to providing these powerful tools to organizations like all of you. And so in similar vein to my frustration in building Keela originally came the idea of an integration with QuickBooks. I'm a slide behind, I apologize. And we were, so again, I'll go back to storytelling. We had a client and they had frustrations because they had to do all their input into Keela. So, donations and this and that and the people and the names and the email addresses and the issuing of the receipts. And then, which was great because it was fast and simple, but they still had to do it manually often. And then they had to do it all over again in QuickBooks. And we were built as an organization, Keela, to stop inefficiency. And yet, in some ways, that process wasn't helping the cause. And so a significant portion of the nonprofit sector uses QuickBooks Online. And so this specific client said, why can't you guys do it for us? And I said, well, we're not magicians. Well, actually, our tech people sort of are magicians. And so what we've built out of this problem was a way to integrate Keela and QuickBooks. And today, I'll show you how it's done. So why? And I kind of touched on this in the story, but I'll talk a little bit about it right now. Accounting, so I've been told, is all about the integrity of data. It's about accuracy. It's about, you don't mess with accountants because then you're messing with CRA. You don't mess with CRA because you could lose your charitable status. So you better get this right. You better get it damn right. So one of the big drivers behind us building this integration is ensuring the accuracy and the integrity of Keela users' data into QuickBooks. The second one, which is really more from the story I just told, is about significantly decreasing the time of entering accounting data manually. But I think also with the saving of time, you're actually saving money because the cost of bookkeepers, as we all know, is expensive. And a lot of us, as myself included, don't have a whole lot of accounting experience. So we're not comfortable doing the bookkeeping. So we have to protect our integrity and CRA's oversight, pay somebody to do this, and that costs money. Money that should be spent on providing more music in our community or helping those women in our community find mentorship and support or whatever our amazing organizations are doing. And the last one is, and the head of our customer success team is smiling right now because importing and exporting, no matter how easy you make it, still sucks. And so saving time and decreasing the hassle of it all. And that's why we built what we built. So I've talked a lot around this integration, but what does it actually do? So Keela operates under the assumption, because maybe we're arrogant, that Keela is the most important thing in your organization's life. That when you get a donation, you're going to input it into our CRM, right? It's a CRM software tool. When you receive a donation online, the great part about Keela is it automatically enters into your CRM, your database, your tech. So our integration is meant to holds the assumption that Keela is what you're using every day and most often, right? So what does it do? It allows you to have one-time syncs of individual records, so donation records or membership records or revenue records or whatever they might be, and their associated credit card fees from Stripe or PayPal or whatever you're using directly into QuickBooks Online. It allows you to segment transactions. I see eyes going, boom! That's what I want to see. It allows you to segment different transactions to different accounts on what Melanie told me used to be called ledgers, both on the revenue side and on the expense side. So if you have a $10 donation, the credit card companies take a little bit of blood, and so they take their, 50 cents, let's say. And so the $10, the gross revenue, is put into one account or ledger, and the 50 cents is put into another. And I'll show you how that happens. The next piece that the integration does, it allows you to pick those things we just talked about based on different things. So you might have an account for memberships where you're tracking revenue in that way, and one for donations, and one for grants. And some of us run complicated organizations. It allows you to do all this mostly automated. And of course, for those of us who are meticulous, like most of my team and my wife, you can pick it for date ranges. So you could choose to do it on a daily, or a weekly, or a monthly, or a quarterly, or God forbid, an annual basis. So I don't have a lot of time, and this isn't the kind of thing that you can mess up setting up. It's really important to set up an accounting integration properly. It only takes a few minutes, but I don't have time to run through the whole thing, so I'm just going to walk you through it really quickly. Of course, I'm going to spend 10 seconds doing a little bit of sales. If this is something that interests your organization, we have an entire amazing team that'll help you not only buy our software, but help you integrate this tool. So if I gloss over anything, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to come to me or to any of the Keela staff, either in the room or in the days on the phone or via email. So setting up QuickBooks on it with Keela, this is the inside of Keela. It's beautiful. I think so. Setting it up's really easy. You connect it. You can be an existing QuickBooks customer or a brand new QuickBooks customer. You connect it. It's literally that simple. You log in with your credentials and you connect your QuickBooks and your Keela. The most important part of this integration, and I would strongly recommend if you're using this tool to talk to the Melanies of your life, either your bookkeeper, your accountant, is to make sure the setup is done correctly, because this is what's going to go to the integrity and the accuracy of all your information sent to QuickBooks. So remember those accounts that we talked about? So we link directly with QuickBooks. So what you choose here is automatically going to be what's in QuickBooks. It pulls from your specific QuickBooks, not another organization's, not a general amount. It's the one that you've set up in QBO, right? That's important. So you can choose where the revenues, the ledger or accounts that the revenues go to. Like I said, you pick what the expense category is, and you pick what account or ledger that the expenses go. And you do this for different types of payments. So you can see up here, it's memberships. And you can click the tab over and set up donations. You can customize, you can customize it if you have a really sophisticated bookkeeping or accounting software. If you want to treat checks differently from credit cards, which is different from PayPal, which is different from cash, you can do that. And once you've set it up properly, it saves these, so you never have to do this again until your bookkeeper messes with your system, and then you do have to do it again. How does it sync? So now that we've set it up, it remembers that you're set up, it saves it, right? Automatically, you never have to go back to that, as I mentioned. And anytime, let's go quarterly, because that's the most realistic for most of us. At the end of the quarter, or a few weeks later, we're like, oh man, I gotta do bookkeeping. And you go into the same screen, and you press sync. And it lets you choose for each time you want to do your sync, what kinds of transactions you want to sync. Because some organizations want to process their cash all at the end of the year, or only at Q2 and Q4, or every iteration imaginable. We don't force you to do everything at once. If you want to do it, we make it easy to do, but we don't force you to do it, and that's actually really important. We reached out to about 30, 40 different bookkeepers in the sector, from Minnesota to Vancouver and everything in between, and one of the big challenges that they had for other integrations that integrate these is they don't give you enough customization, or they're too complicated. So we tried to find the middle ground for those two things. And we'll let you all be the judge of whether we were successful. You pick the transactions you want to do. You pick your date range. This is a year. You pick the transactions, or all of them. You can select all the transactions that you want to transfer over. So these are all your cash donations that you inputted into Keela. You pick them all. It tells you the date they were, and of course the contact. This information is, you press sync, and it's sent to QuickBooks automatically. It's not instant, so it might take 15, 20 minutes for it to all properly populate over into QuickBooks, but give it half an hour or an hour or whatever the time that it says in the Keela help article you have to wait, and they will all be there. You know at the end of your sync what's been synced and what's been skipped, because you chose that. You might have said, I don't want to sync these transactions because I'm waiting for a grant to actually come in, or, again, we allow it to be really simple, but it is customizable. Once that's all there, the contact's name, the contact's email address, the donation amount, the sales receipt, all of that is automatically created in QuickBooks, and you never, ever have to think about it. You can hand the QuickBooks password to your accountant, to your bookkeeper at the end of the quarter, week, quarter, year, whatever you choose, and it's done. That's it. After it's synced, you know if you're in, and I see it's nice to see a couple Keela customers in the audience, you know when you click on a contact a donation record of a contact, that this is what the screen is, right? It's an overview. It tells you the receipt serial number, maybe there's an impact area or a source that it came from. It also, and this is new, so I'm going to call out Steve. You've never seen this before because it hasn't happened. You're going to see a little QuickBooks thing if you've integrated QuickBooks. You click that, it'll take you, assuming you're logged into QuickBooks, it'll take you directly into QuickBooks to that record. The account ledger thing, that's not an accounting word, Melanie, I promise. That 50-cent transaction fee, you click on that, it'll take you to that record right in QuickBooks. So we've made it as simple and easy and clean as possible for you to not have a headache. You click into QuickBooks and it's all there. So this is Tess McLaughlin, and she's from Toronto, and she donated through Keela, through Stripe, which you may have set up, or PayPal, or whatever it was. There's a reference number that you can search in Keela if you want to track that back. It tells you it was a one-time donation. It tells you the source. It's already hard-coded as a donation because you set that up in Keela already. It's deposited to the account you chose to, and that's it. There's nothing else to say. The same thing goes with the expense. That's that credit card blood we talked about. Our integration isn't complicated. It's meant to save you time, to give you back money that you spend on bookkeepers, to give you back hassle, because running a nonprofit's enough hassle without the need of bookkeeping. Other than that, I wanted to thank KPMG. I wanted to thank Enkel and Omar and the entire team for putting this event together and inviting us to speak. So thank you very much. Are there any questions? Of course.
What if your charity has QuickBooks Desktop?
It's a great question. So in the future, we're actually going to add an export functionality to our import-export that'll create the, and it's not built yet, but we are building it. It's a certain II something type file, and you'll be able to export it in Keela and then import it into QuickBooks Desktop. Bogdan, who is the QuickBooks rep for British Columbia or whatever it is has also helped us build this, and he told me to encourage people to switch over to QBO. I'm not going to say anything more. We're making the export available. It should be over the summer that'll come out. Plenty of time before accounting season starts. Any other questions? I'll hand it over to the far more capable hands of Melanie, so thank you.